Assalamualaikum. My name is Nurul Afika binti Nordin, a student of MPPA 3AJA, Master of Technology Education at University Technology Mara. Today, I will present to you the title of the study that I will do is Online Pedagogical Home-Based Learning (PDPR) for reducing cognitive load among secondary school students. The COVID-19 pandemic has resulted in school closing around the world. Globally, more than 1.2 billion children are beginning to learn through online learning from their homes. However, it seems that learning at home can be valuable for students if it done in the ways that can improve their self-regulation skills, improve control over their learning, and support their cognitive and mental load. Some students are often at a home study on their own. There is a greater need for the online instruction to be delivered clearly, and it's such a way that the student maintain their motivation and retention toward the content delivered. And ineffective instruction that content extraneous or confusing content will decrease student motivation and causes a cognitive load. 2014 also state the improved design of a learning material in the online setting could be considered as one of the key reasons of a cognitive load. It is essential for online learning to be designed in a way that can maximize the student learning through interaction with engaging and relevant materials that can at the same time support the development of their mental models. Today, many previous research has only looked at how cognitive load occurs among students and examined its relationship with the student learning performance. However, students are very limited in focusing on how to reduce cognitive load in the online learning environment, especially nowadays all teachers and students are involved in home-based online learning, PDPR, giving the importance of understanding student cognitive load. This study seeks to examine the degree of online learning and home-based learning to which this teaching and learning process using cognitive strategy can be applied. Therefore, there is a need to have a new framework for home-based online learning to reducing cognitive load among students. The development framework can help educators design their online learning instruction and produce appropriate instructional method to ensure that the success of learning. So why this study conduct? The reason why this study conduct because of three reasons. First, to examine the factor causing cognitive load in online learning and home-based learning among learners. And then, this study to identify online pedagogical principle and home-based learning principle to reduce cognitive load among learners. Lastly, this study was conducted to formulate a framework of online pedagogical home-based learning (PDPR) for reducing a learner's cognitive load. So, let me move to the next slide. There are three research questions. First, what are the factors causing cognitive load in online learning and home-based learning among learners? Second, why it is important to reduce cognitive load among learners based on exciting online pedagogical principles and home-based learning principles? And third, how is the framework of the online pedagogical home-based learning (PDPR) for reducing cognitive load? So, let me move the next slide to know details about this research. So, in this slide, I will discuss about the research methodology that contain the research design, population and sampling, and then data collection and procedure and the data analysis. So, let me move to the next slide. This study was conducted in a mixed method that is a quantitative and qualitative to study the online pedagogical framework for the home-based learning (PDPR), reducing cognitive burden among secondary school students. As a mixed method study, the data collection instrument we use interview with a focus of a group. Thereafter, the complete survey instrument will be validated using a Rush model analysis before being distributed and admin to the students. Survey data will be analyzed using a smart PLS in the next phases. Data will analyzed through a two-step process introduced by Hare et al. 2017. So let me move to the next slide to know more about the population and sampling will involve in this research. The sample for this study involved experts in online learning, 2 pupils, 10 teachers teaching different subjects from the science, math, language, history, and art. And the research collaborator, multimedia developers, will be involved in the interview season focus group. Thereafter, the computer survey instrument will be validated using a rush model analysis before being distributed and admitted to the student. The sample of the student involved in home teaching and learning PDPR student will be random selected from a group of high school students. Survey data we analyze using a smart PLS in the next phases. Next, the data from the focus group season will be converted into the transcript and then analysis to the identify required them. So we move to the next slide to know more detail about this research. This study involved 3 pieces. Pieces 1 and 2 involve the collection of data with a secondary school student that improved from the Jabatan Pendidikan Negeri JPN and Bahagian Perancangan and Penyelidikan Pembelajaran PBBP will be obtained before conducting the research. So to know more about the 3 pieces, let me move to the next slide to know the details. So, in the passage 1 is to investigate the cognitive load factors in online learning and home-based learning among students. In this passage, the research will identify cognitive load factors among secondary students in online learning and home-based learning. The literature on cognitive load will be reviewed and understood to get an overview or the challenge and difficult phases among students. The challenge may be different for different subjects. For example, in science, which involve more abstract concept, or in mathematics, which more require numbering and formula. Conventional cognitive load model will be used to analyze the intrinsic load, extraneous load, and germinal load. A systematic review will be conducted on the data gathering from the findings. In addition, the factor identified and the relationship will be analyzed. Then, the finding will be validated via interviews with a focus group involve 2 experts in online learning, 10 teachers from the different subjects science, mathematics, language, art and history, and 10 students from a different field of study, science stream, engineering, and art. Then, finding will used to develop the instrument in the passage 2. And then the passage 2, we identify the home-based online learning pedagogical principle to reduce cognitive load among students. Based on the finding of the cognitive load factor from the passage 1, the survey instrument will be developed to identify the home-based online learning pedagogical principle to reduce cognitive load among students. The focus group interview protocol will be designed and developed to gain the data about the appropriate home-based online learning pedagogical principles. The independent variable of the study are online learning principles, and the dependent variable are intrinsic load, external load, and germinal load. Expert in online learning is two persons, and then 10 teachers in teaching different subjects, science, mathematics, language, history, and art. And then the research collaborator is a multimedia developer. We involve in a focus group interview seasons. And then the season will be conducted separately at the beginning of the focus group interview season. The research will introduce herself and explain the purpose of the protocol season. The interviewers will assure of the confidentiality and anonymity at the beginning of the season. Approval will be obtained to record the season. After that, the complete survey instrument will be validated using a rush model analysis before being distributed and admitted to the student. The sample is the student involved in the teaching and learning at home (PDPR). The student will be random selected from a group of secondary school students. The survey data will be analyzed using a smart PLS in the passage 3. The last passage is the passage 3 to formulate a framework of home-based online teaching and learning PDPR for reducing a cognitive load. The survey data obtained in the PASES tool will be analyzed using a smart PLS to develop the new framework of home-based online teaching and learning PDPR. The data will be analyzed through a two-step process introduced by Hai et al. 2017. First, the measure model will be optimized for its reliability as well as the conformity and discriminant validity. Second, the structure model will be optimized to analyze the purpose relationship among the construction in the term of strength and direction. The model validity will be analyzed using a confirmatory factor analysis that employs a smart PLS 3.0, especially the parallel square instructional equation modeling PLS SEM. Additionally, the study implement of empirical methodology to formulate an effective model. Next, the data from the focus group session will be converted into the transcript and then the analysis to the identify required them. Then software used to fulfill the goals is a Trasana to produce the next transcript, and then Nivo to analyze data to the established them, and then the framework of the home-based online teaching and learning PDPR. To reduce a student cognitive load will be formulated based on the data collect in all above the passes. The combination of the quantitative is a survey PLS, SEM, and the qualitative focus group using the Nivo. Data will produce a well-established framework as a guide for future educators. At the end of the research, the framework of the online pedagogical home-based learning PDPR for reducing learning cognitive load will be formulated. This framework will be applied for the copyright. The framework will be used by the educators to design online learning activities that are suitable for the learners during PDPR, which further contribute to the meaningful online home-based learning environment. In the quadruple helix, understanding the study is to aspect to describe society, university, industry, governments, and interaction with a knowledge economy. The overlapping interaction between those sectors will benefit each other. For example, the developed framework will help reduce learners' cognitive load in online learning setting. In addition, the framework will be guideline for the teachers or educator or multimedia developer to develop the online learning materials suitable for the cognitive load. The teaching and learning environment created will be aligned with a Malaysian Education Development Plan 2030 until 2025, which improve the quality of teaching and learning process. Moreover, the developed framework is expected to fulfill as one of the technology drivers in achievement the vision of education 4.0. So that's all from me. Hope the all information provided can benefit to the public, and I hope the study done will run smoothly. Thank you.